You gotta accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between. You gotta spread joy up to the maximum, bring gloom down to the minimum, have faith or pandemonium's liable to walk upon the scene. Accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative, and latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In Between.
My name's Adam, and I've spent the last 20 years of my career leading, growing, and building companies and teams for lasting impact. It would be my honor to come alongside you and help you to do the same thing. Whether it's in the corporate world, a brand new small business startup, or a 100-year-old family business, I've seen it and I've led it. Starting with defining your purpose beyond profit, we unlock strategies across every part of your business so that we can arrive at what I call asymmetric endurance, allowing you to get your time back while the business continues to grow, succeed, and achieve its true purpose. If you're ready to build an unbreakable business, let's talk. Book 15 minutes with me today at kingdommindsetstrategies.com.
Well, here's 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Miracles Online podcast. We are here to talk about love, relationship, dating, marriage, commitment, all the great stuff in life. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the very important topic: why do you love the way you love? So to start that off, welcome back. And of course, like and subscribe. I'm Jeff, your host, and this is...
I'm Kat.
And Kat is going to start us off and kind of start to get us on the understanding of what kind of love we actually project and what kind of love we're looking for, and why do we love the way we love.
Glad to kick it off, Jeff. And welcome to Miracles Online Podcast, episode number 34. 34. And the topic is, why do we love the way we do? What attachment style do you have? And I'm going to see if you can discover ours, Jeff, or yours or mine, as we go through this. And there's 4 attachment styles that we're going to talk about today. So secure attachment, that's what we all strive for. And keep in mind as we go through these that they're all, I'm not going to say fixable or curable, but they can all be elevated to this number one, secure attachment, with raising the level of consciousness as we go through this journey, right? So what is the core belief of someone who has an attachment style that says, you know, I'm secure, I have a secure attachment style? Well, that core belief is none other than I am worthy of love, I deserve love, and others are reliable. Some of the behaviors that will be coupled with this would be they're open, they're trusting, they're emotionally available, not over available, but emotionally available, and they're able to both give and receive support from their significant others. Their relationships are comfortable with intimacy and independence as well. And it tends to create stable, fulfilling partnerships. So that all sounds great, right?
Sounds fantastic.
And I think that for those of us, you out there, maybe us at times may vacillate. It's not that we're all stuck into one pigeonhole or another. But as we may recognize ourselves in our love attachments in the other categories, it's something that we can be aware of and work on. So,
alrighty then.
The second one, anxious, or what we call preoccupied attachment. So the core belief in that category is I must earn love. and I know we've talked about that in past relationships that you've had. I must earn love, others may leave me. So it's kind of an insecure feeling. Their behaviors, they crave closeness, they fear abandonment, and they may appear clingy or overly sensitive to rejection. And subsequently, their relationships often seek constant reassurance and struggle with self-worth. So I know we've talked about in the past, Jeff, that you've experienced in your journey, that spectrum. Can you share something on that?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, brings back to my early to mid 20s. I was dating this girl, and in the beginning it was nice. It was no preconceived type of expectations. So we just got involved and was having a really nice time. But then when we got serious, I noticed that it wasn't the same kind of passion anymore. It wasn't the same kind of intimacy, and it wasn't the same kind of relationship. And it kind of fell away from the comfort to almost distance. And I couldn't understand it until one day we had to talk about this. And she actually says, I'm intimidated by you. And I'm like, why? She goes, well, look at you. And I said to her, what does that mean? Now, what she was coming from was from the point of view that I was in a band. I was very boisterous, very on top of my game in my profession in regards to how I want to do it and things I was doing. And I was training really hard physically. I was really focused. And this somehow she translates to, I can't keep up. I'm not going to be anywhere near as attractive to him if he's going to be all this, and I'm not doing this. And I remember distinctively at one time that we were going to the same gym after work. She worked on one side of the area, and I worked on the further side. But we had a central location where the gym was. And I would see her after work, and she would be busting her tail and working out in her level of, as hard as she could. Of course, for me, I was working out as a beast at that time. So therefore, I always thought,
Well, plus you're a guy.
I'm a guy.
Certainly she couldn't anticipate that she would be bench lifting the same weights that you were.
Well,
but
it wasn't
sounds
even
to me
about,
like this person had a real self-esteem issue.
Well, it was at that for that particular point, but it wasn't even lifting weights. It was almost like there was a level of measuring competition or how am I equating to? Because I remember distinctively, she said to me, well, my workout is hard. And I'm really surprised at those kind of things, because it's like, I didn't even bring it up. Like, I work out harder than you. So why are you bringing it up to me? And ultimately, I went to one of her cardio classes just to see, okay, you're working so hard, I'll come work out with you. And I worked out, in one of these typical, big gym where, classes, 45 minutes, hardcore cardio. And at the end of this cardio, that poor girl looked like she just been through the ringer and half dead. And I was still like, okay, so what now? And she looked at me, she goes, how could this not tax you? And I said to her, I go, you have to understand, not only do I lift weights, I run full court basketball for hours. So 45 minutes out of this is nothing. And at that point, I know that it may have come across very insensitive because I was in my early 20s. But at the same time, I couldn't understand, why did you even drag me in here just to make a point to see that I see you working harder? Was that going to make me love you more? Or was this going to make you feel better that now I see you're suffering, I suffer equally, so we have the same empathetic feeling?
So do you think, as what we brought up on this, anxious, preoccupied attachment, do you think that she was seeking reassurance and may struggle with her own self-worth?
I think there's a little bit of that. I think just as she saw how everybody was around our circle, and she realized that not only I was different than everybody else, that I had a drive about my career and so forth that was second. I mean, back in those days, my blinders were on. Nothing else mattered. And I think she felt threatened about the relationship, that I was so committed that she was just, until she fell off of it. And she was trying so hard to make sure she was never going to fall off of it. But the problem is, because she was trying so hard, she was no longer contributing to a relationship. She was chasing a ghost, literally, of something that was non-existent. And by doing that, she was driving a further edge away from our relationship, because she was constantly trying to prove, constantly trying to
Get reassurance.
get to a level of what she, in her expectation of being a good relationship, which for me at that time, I was really too immature. I mean, you know, at early to mid 20s, and being so focused about being in a professional band and being a rock star and all of that, the last thing I really cared about was making love intimately, holding hands. You know, I get all those things now, but at that time, it just was secondary. And I'm sure there was a void that she felt that, you know, if I'm not getting that, maybe it's me not stepping up and be at that level. So needless to say, that brought the compatibility aspect of it, or that relationship, to drive a wedge further and further apart. And ultimately we fell apart. And I knew it too.
So it doesn't sound like she would fall into the, you know, she needed to earn love and that you might leave her.
No, there
Or
was a self-esteem thing.
It was definitely
It has
self-esteem,
to
which
be.
falls into that bucket.
Right.
And you know, what I described doesn't really encompass it all, but it really comes down to, I'm not enough. I need to be more. I need to compete. I need to be
Right.
better than. I'm not lovable just as I am. So, you know, that's definitely some work, you know, on
I'm
your
not enough is probably
self-realization.
the biggest obstacle.
Yep.
And this is something out
Absolutely.
there for your audience, for everyone out there. You know, you are enough. You are enough if you're giving your utmost focus to it. Only you would know that.
Well, we were all born enough, but it took teachers and parents and relatives and society telling us that we weren't enough. So it's just remembering that we are enough without outside approval. So number two, I'm sorry, that was number two, what we call an anxious, preoccupied attachment. And again, as we go down this list, two more, these are all styles, attachment styles, love styles, if you will, that can be elevated and changed and refined as you become aware of them. The first thing is to pull the veil off and go, let me take an assessment. And I think we're going to put together a short Q&A that we'll have on our Substack that you can sign up for, that will have you take a short Q&A because maybe you're going, gosh, they went through them, but I don't really know what style I am until I can identify that. How can I improve it? So we're going to have something like that for you that you can sign up for and download and take the test. So moving to the avoidant, or what we call dismissive attachment. And so what does that look like? Instead of the core belief being, you know, I must earn love, or others will leave me, we're talking about a core belief of I can only rely on myself. So vulnerability is very risky. So what are the behaviors in that type of attachment style? We're talking about emotional distance. You can see values independence. They may suppress their feelings or avoid, you know, intimacy or, you know, conversations around intimacy. So what about their relationships? They're often uncomfortable, this type of behavior with closeness. They may withdraw or shut down during conflict. So I can see myself, I'll jump right in on this one, that, you know, through our decades of being married, that that's something I had to work on, is a preoccupied attachment and a, you know, distance, somewhat of a distance and a shutting down or withdrawal. How about you, Jeff?
I don't think I ever came across anything that was in that direction for me. I think for me, the way I love, I think for the longest time, is typical machismo guys who's looking for the woman to throw themselves at you in you know, sex. Is definitely the
Needless
key.
to say, he healed all of that before we got together, because I wouldn't have been attracted to that at all.
What does that mean?
It means I love you now, honey. I'm so glad that you healed yourself.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, I thought that was really the way to express, because I had no role models.
Right.
You know,
Of course.
my
Yeah.
family was different, and since of coming from an Asian family, of course, we've talked about this, is very macho, very male figure driven, very machismo thought paradigm, and those things, and didn't help. When that's not what the opposite sex, the females, are looking for. So it took time. And the other aspect of it is, when a female gives themselves to you, I felt accepted, but then I felt like, okay, well, now what? And I didn't know where to go any further from it. And that was probably the biggest detriment from my teens to 20s, because I would have somebody that I would really be interested in, and then we get intimate and have sex and whatnot, and all of a sudden sometimes they fall away, and it's like, well, what happened? I didn't want that to end. And then there's times I was just like, okay, well, that's that, because I've already got it there. I've already done it, So my own destruction and my lack of true love came from me not really understanding it. And at that point in my life, I wasn't reading books. There wasn't, of course, no internet. So there wasn't like anything you can research. So outside of role modeling, or, you see somebody with a successful marriage and you kind of go, well, I'm not sure I want to be married, because you see with their significant other, their spouse, all the time. And I was, not really for all the time thing. I was a professional musician, and I know I needed to put my efforts into that. So what I needed was my companion that can be with me. In a lot of ways, that's very crappy, because it literally is like, it's like I have a cat and it's great, and I love my cat, and but the cat can take care of itself, so I don't need to give it to the full attention. I was doing that to girlfriends.
Sure, a relationship wasn't your priority, and
but it wasn't that I wasn't gracious or I wasn't giving. I take them out and I buy flowers and I do nice things. I just wouldn't 100% commit to it.
Sure.
If they ever said a word, the get married thing, it's like, no. I was very, in a lot of ways, I think I modeled that after, all the stuff I grew up watching, the Van Halen, David Lee Roth, the Kiss, Gene Simmons, bad role modeling for
that was your
true
male
love.
role model.
But again, this is why it's so important to understand who you are and what your pattern, your relationships and your idealisms. Where did it come from?
Sure. Why do you love the way you do?
Right.
And again, you're not stuck with it. It's not, the first part is being aware of it.
Yes.
And until you're aware of it, you can't change anything. But once you're aware of it, and that's why we feel so empowered sharing with folks out there. Those who need to hear will hear the message. And, I would encourage you, get the questionnaire. It's going to be just probably about 12 questions. It'll help you define which attachment style you lend yourself to right now, because, we're moving, living, breathing, dynamic individuals. And just like we talked about in the last episode, the DISC, personality test, that could be different 6 months from now. It more than likely may be a little bit different, as will an assessment of your attachment style. But I encourage you to find out what your attachment style is right now, because you may be really surprised to see some patterns. And then from there, you can do some self-correcting.
Yeah.
And that's what healing is all about. That's what elevating, ourselves to vibrate at the level that will attract that like individual that we deserve.
Yeah. And also by seeing how you're ending every relationship and take, basically an assessment in regards to this one's ended similar to my last one, my last two. Oh, wait, my last four. So you start to recognize there's a pattern building. And then two is, what is the length and duration of it? It's interesting that, I have 4 relationships and all of them kind of break off around 6-month period. So something about that runs its course around the 6-month period
that you might be able to identify.
That you need to kind of dig deeper, and identify. And you know what? The one of the things about identifying when you're going down this path is you have to be brave, because you may face some of the things that you don't want to face. And this is including the things that taught you what love was. Some of it could have been at very young age abuse. And all of a sudden you took that as that's the only way I'm going to get attention.
Yeah.
That's the way that I think that so-and-so loves me. So therefore, now I'm in a position where I can create my love. And so that's my blueprint. And that's not healthy, because ultimately you realize, hey, my last 4 or 5 relationships all ended with disappointments.
Mhm.
All ended with somebody yelling at me saying I'm a piece of crap. I don't think I am. What happened there?
But unfortunately, the psyche, the subconscious, we've talked about this before, it wants to keep you safe and it likes what's familiar.
Right.
But unfortunately, a lot of times what's familiar is not what's best
That's
for us. It's
correct.
just what we learned early on. And we manufactured in our psyche and our subconscious that, oh, that's love.
Yeah.
And that's, then we look at the pattern and go, oh, okay, I'm attracting what I think is love because it's known, because it's familiar. But is it what we need? Is it what we want? Is that how we're going to have true love?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
One of the biggest, I think, red flags that pops out is when somebody says, I love you, do you hesitate? Do you then have a big warning or some kind of curtain falls down? So I love you. And you sit there and you go, thank you.
Well, thank you. Oh, boy, we've seen those in movies, huh? Thank you. You're like, ooh.
But it's based off truth.
It depends on who's saying I love you. Maybe the person who's being said I love you is not ready to hear that from that person.
We don't really know, because every relationship and
It's
every
unique.
event that gets to that position is varies in difference. If somebody met you for the first time, 2 hours later, I love you, it may be a red
that's too
flag.
fast. Yeah.
But it could be, I've been looking for you all my life and you're it. And the other person are sitting across with you going, yeah, I've been looking for you all my life.
This is not somewhere in time, honey.
Oh, see, now.
I have to beg to differ on that.
Richard.
I have to beg to differ on that, because
Do you know?
that would be a red flag, because someone who that's just what they've envisioned in their mind is what you look like.
I understand that.
And that's it, that they love you. Well, we know that's not mature.
But see,
love.
that's from your paradigm. If we
Okay.
have 2 people that has the similar paradigm, then it matches up beautifully in regards to the chemistry of what they're perceiving and what they're looking for. This is, again, it's different for everybody. It's not just, it works this way, and if you do A, B, and C, and it perfectly fits every time. It has much more nuances and details than just that. The connector isn't connect A, B, C, D together. Okay, now this one works. No, it's much, much more
complex.
complex,
Yes,
no
much
doubt.
more complex. But as a rule, I would, and again, this is a rule.
This is from a woman that married me after 6 weeks.
Yeah, this is as a rule. Yes, and when we broke the rule, is you want to have your first fight before you decide that you are in love with that person, because falling in love is not falling in love. It is a decision. It's a decision to love.
But we didn't get into a fight until after we got married.
Nah, we did. We did.
What was the fight? Where was I at?
I don't know, but there was some kind of
let me just make up something for
I think there was a
the history.
disagreement. I don't know. We're going back 20.
Yeah.
plus
No,
years.
no, because I remember
But that's what
distinctively.
I would recommend today.
A family member did voice concern, says, I don't know if
She
you guys
didn't
should.
know. She
You
didn't
know,
know
I don't know
we
if
had
you
a
guys
fight.
should be married if we, at that quick of time, 6 weeks, if you guys never really had a fight. And after I heard that, I kind of thought to myself, well, the idea is hopefully never fight. You figure out this before everybody gets so ugly about things. Then we realize that we're only humans. Emotion will overcharge, and pretty
Sure.
soon all logic
Sure.
goes out
In
of the
fact,
window.
when I hear from people occasionally that say, oh, they've been married for X number of years and they've never had a fight.
It depends.
Yeah, no, I would say, yeah, then there's no passion there.
No,
possibly.
I don't believe that.
Okay, I do.
I think it depends on the people.
Mhm.
Again, I believe
Mm.
there's some chemistries in some people's behaviors that are perfectly free. So let's give you an example. We have a lovely woman that is very passive, but very matronly in sense of building families, doing things for the house. Then we have a man who adores this woman, and his whole life goal is to making sure that she gets what she wants. So is there going to be disagreement? Probably. Is there going to be a major fight? Chances are probably not. If he stays true in his path and she says, I want this, he's going to, even if he disagrees, he's going to say, I don't think that's a great idea, but if you want it, I'm going to give it to you. Because this is what we do. I don't fight with her like on a fight anymore. For the simple fact, I just know there's no point to it. Number one, I've already learned when we fight that ultimately the diffusing of that energy is what was the fight about. And we have to kind of sit back and kind of sift through all the junk to the emotion of what you really even charge for it. So again, everybody is different in the dynamic of the two. I think fuels each relationship uniquely. And that's why this thing of why do you love the way you do, you kind of have to figure out what are you? How do you love? And that person that you want to love, do they understand that? And do you need to change it, fix it, build it, make that decision?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. She's going to go, what are you saying? Yeah.
No, I mean, that's the bottom line. We can agree to disagree in terms of.
Okay, tell me the disagree part.
I don't think that, number one, that someone should make a lifelong decision without knowing how they handle discord, conflict resolution. So you can define fight, what is fight, but some sort of conflict resolution display should be navigated between the couple. That's my idea. Okay. Moving right along, let's move to the last one, which is fearful avoidant attachment, or they're calling it a disorganized fearful avoidant attachment. Yeah. So what's the core belief on that? It's I want love, but I'm afraid of it.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, and I think that's
as a matter of fact,
common.
There's been points in my life I know some of that would creep up. And it's like, here's your opportunity, and the first thing comes is I can't do that.
Sure.
And why does that come up? Because you talk yourself out of something that's great, because you realize that you have to take responsibility if you enter it.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Action. You've got to take some sort of action to commit to that. So, what are the behaviors? Unpredictable. They may both crave and fear connection. So, you're on the fence, often linked to unresolved trauma. Okay. So what are we looking at in terms of relationships? Like a push-pull dynamic, struggles with trust, emotional regulation. That's a big one. Regulating their emotions and stability. So, that could go into some severe, emotional outbreaks and not being able to control, or
crying,
navigate. Yeah.
Like hysterically crying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a relationship where your a significant other goes into this hysteria that you just go, okay, I can't control this. That's the first thought in your mind is, okay, this is way out of my league.
Yeah.
And then what do? You start looking for escape hatch, or you start looking for solutions. So again, this is the part is how do you love? Do you only love to a certain level? And then you went, nope, that's it. Or do you love unconditionally all the way through? It's like, I know this is tough. I know this is hard. And this goes with, again, the topic of infidelity. To me, if you actually have infidelity in your relationship, you pretty much dishonored it. You didn't put any weight to this relationship. So to me, that is the only breaking point of no, there's nothing to work on. You can forgive, you can't forget it. But at the same time, why would you want to be in a situation that we had an understanding and we went all this way with that understanding, and you still dumped it, stepped on it, pissed on it, whatever you did to violate that understanding. And if you have that kind of track record, there's no forgiveness and come back and we'll patch it. That is literally for instance, taking the vase, not just falling off the table and then you glue it and you see the crack. This is literally taking the vase and throwing it as hard as you can against the wall, and then walking over and then stepping on it until it becomes dust. And then somebody hands you a bottle of glue and go, okay, now put it back together. It's not going to work.
No.
Because you cannot have a trust for so much of so-called life force in time together. Let's say, 7-year itch. We hear this all the time in marriage, right?
Yeah.
If you can pass the 7-year itch. And what does that mean? Oh, if you can commit to it. Okay, so let's use that as a barometer. 7 years. Okay, so you got 7 years of history with somebody, and that person decided, I got an itch, I got a scratch. What the heck does that even mean?
Itch, I got a scratch.
Right. That means, I'm just so discontent with my trust and love and this effort that I put in for the 7 years that I need to just violate and poo-poo all over the 7 years just so I can get my moment of, somebody cares. Somebody still thinks I'm pretty.
So what, just to stay on topic, sweetie, what abandonment style would that be before I go into the poem here?
What abandonment style?
Yeah. Not abandonment. I'm sorry. Attachment, not abandonment. Attachment style.
I think that attachment, it comes down to what about me?
I think that would be the avoidant, dismissive attachment. The core belief is I can only rely on myself. There's a vulnerability.
But what are you relying on? My internal happiness? Is that what it is?
I think so. Being vulnerable is risky.
I mean, seriously, let's think about this dynamic wise. And we know people that's been in successful marriages, raised kids, graduate and all that. And next, the husband's cheating. And 9 out of 10 people we know that has that kind of infidelity is always the husband. So obviously the group of guys, were raised with some kind of consciousness and paradigm that pushes us believing that we can revisit youth, exuberance, vitality.
But you're assuming that.
I'm not assuming. It's a fact. If you looked at all the people that's cheated on their wives are guys who's in their so-called 30 to 40s who can't get over building a family, going to work, that I have to do something exciting. I have to do this. And finally, somebody give them some little cute attention. And they go overboard with it. And then they have to justify that.
Again, everybody's different. So we're not making generalities here, because it could be that, something that the wife is or isn't doing.
So that means let's go ahead and just cheat on her?
No, I'm not saying that is,
well, that's my point.
That condones it. Absolutely not.
If you're my wife and we have an issue, don't you think we should talk about this?
Absolutely.
Right. It's not that, we have a problem that I went to work. Oh, the secretary doesn't have a problem with me.
Of course, but this show isn't about infidelity.
It's about why do you love the way you love?
Why do you love the way?
How do you love
the
your
way
wife
that
and
you
your
do?
family?
Exactly.
And yet do that.
Exactly.
Self-centeredness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, so we're now coming up toward the end. You got a poem?
I think you close out with some.
Of course, but I wanted to make sure that everybody knew where we're going.
I do. I am going to end episode 34 with a poem.
So we got the Substack, which is Miracles Online, Jeff. Substack, okay. And of course you're going to have to create all these little fun hand-me-outs that I will post. Yes. And then of course, you publishing where all our books. This is of course to Kat's website, Troulinos.com. You QR that. Of course, like and subscribe, share. We need your help to grow this, and we
appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, we appreciate everything you do. But here's the key factor: that we can promote more love, more sensibility in relationships, more confidence in our so-called each other, in what we do in life. It's going to enrich all of us in humanity, and this is why we're here doing this show. It's because we realize that. Sure, it's great in our home, but why do we see so much that other people are not having this greatness? Well, maybe it's because they're not aware of it. Maybe because nobody showed them. Maybe ...
More than likely, yeah, because there's no relationship classes in school.
Right. So we're here to help.
And we're not degreed in relationships. Well, we do have an honorary PhD from the School of Hard Knocks.
Well, let's talk about that real quick before we wrap. how do you get a degree to be able to talk about relationship? It's not psychology.
No,
You can go to psychology, but
that's
you're not.
textbook. Yep.
Yeah, that's about brain
Yep.
functions and
That's what I'm
logic
saying.
and so forth.
This is from the school of hard knocks,
Yeah.
the school of having done it.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. What have we done to do that? We've read, we've gone to seminars, we've definitely practiced it, and we constantly work on looking for material to refine what we do. And what that
Absolutely.
means is, do we plan things to do outside of our environment so we can experience new experiences? Yes. Do we put time out and efforts?
Time, effort,
Yeah.
and prayers. Yes, we pray about it.
Right.
Also.
So these are all things that we've trial, errored, made sure it worked and how it worked before we present it to you. This is the beauty, I think, always behind it. I rather trust a pitching coach who's thrown in a real game than a guy who was graduated with a sports master's.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So thanks for that, Jeff.
So
ready
here's
for the poem?
yes,
Okay.
here's the poem.
Okay. So episode 34. You learned love in quiet glances, in voices raised or softened stances, a cradle or a closing door. The heart remembers its core. You reach for closeness, then you retreat. A rhythm old, a loop, repeat. You text, then wait, then wonder why you scan the silence for goodbye. But what if patterns aren't your fate? What if it's not too late? Because it's not. To draw new lines, to breathe, to trust, to turn old dust to golden dust. You're not the fear that held you tight, not just the dark. You are the light. With every tear, a thread unspools. Love isn't war, and hearts aren't tools. So hold yourself with sacred grace. You're not a flaw. You are a place where healing lives and truth breaks through. Love's deepest work begins with you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And God bless everyone. Well, thank you so much again for tuning in. And I hope to see you back soon on the next episode of Miracles Online. And then we'll let our sponsor take us out and we'll say goodbye.
Sealed with a kiss.
So here
Bye.
it is.
Well done. You've done something that most people only ever dream about. You've started and kept a business alive, and that's a huge achievement and one you should be proud of. Now, I want to help you make that business unbreakable. My name's Adam, and I've spent the last 20 years of my career leading, growing, and building companies and teams for lasting impact. Whether it's in the corporate world, a brand new small business startup, or a 100-year-old family business, I've seen it and I've led it. And what I've learned is building an unbreakable business often requires similar ingredients: clear financial insights, well-built systems, streamlined growth strategies, and optimized operations. Starting with defining your purpose beyond profit, we unlock strategies across every part of your business so that we can arrive at what I call asymmetric endurance, allowing you to get your time back while the business continues to grow, succeed, and achieve its true purpose. If you're ready to build an unbreakable business, let's talk. Book 15 minutes with me today at kingdommindsetstrategies.com.